Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and to this video. What are we up to today? Well, it's been a busy old week to say the least. What a transformation it's been from last week. So it's Saturday morning, it's about just gone 8 o'clock. I've just arrived here at the car pitch. So what's been going on this week? Well, selling. We had a very quiet weekend and we had a very quiet Monday morning as well, which is unusual because usually we get a bit of spillover from the weekend, etc. But because the weekend was quiet, Monday wasn't great either. A bit of rain. Thought to myself, to be honest with you, the rest of the week is going to be pretty slow. But it'll be a great opportunity to get some cars prepped through the workshop and out. Well, when the rains departed on Monday afternoon, all hell broke loose. It went absolutely bonkers and it's not stopped since. The phone wouldn't stop ringing. We've been selling cars over the phone. We've been selling cars, obviously people walking on the pitch. We've had people who've seen the channel have come down and bought cars. It's just been an absolutely bumper week. So rather than me sort of rant on about it, I think the best thing to do is go outside on the pitch and show you what's been going on. What's sold, what's been coming in as well, because we have had a few purchases we've brought in over the last few days. And basically just give you a bit of a roundup on what's been going on. And also, what issues do we now face? Because we do have a few problems we're going to have with selling all these cars. But let me go show you around first what's been going on. Right, first of all, we step outside. We can tell that the Corsa, the old part exchange, hasn't moved. That was actually supposed to be worked on Tuesday, but then, like I said, it just went completely busy, so that's now in the back burner. We'll get around to that at some point. What have we got here now? We'll start with the stuff that's sold first, because we've had new stuff come in as well, but stuff that's sold. Right, off the bat, Focus, 50,000 miler on the channel last time. That's sold, that's away. We've also got sold Volkswagen Polo. A little Polo, that is now sold. We just had that in yesterday for suspension work. That's going out next week. So that's had all new suspension all the way around. Actually, if you look at it now, it looks like it's a bit lopsided, but it's because the tarmac's uneven. But it has a brand new suspension all the way around. So we say we're going to put a timing chain on that on Monday. That's going away to have a chain done. And then it just wants really then just going for MOT. General servicing, they'll do an oil change in that when they do the timing chain, obviously. We'll just finish the rest of the bits off when it comes back. But that's sold 2,995. We've done really well out of that car, really well. Subscribers bought it, but what a car that is. 61,000 miles, 09 plates, a lovely clean thing. Lady's had an old Golf, she had it for donkey's years. It's now sort of give up the ghost, so she wants something else, and I thought that was a perfect car for her. Subscribers say, I think it was Subscribers' mother-in-law, I think it was. Anyway, came down, had a look at some bits, and they decided on the V-Dub Polo. And say they've got a cracking car there with 61,000 miles on it. You just know you can go and drive that for many years, and you're going to get good use out of it. So really pleased with that one because we've done really well out of it. But we are doing quite a lot of work to that. So you're putting all new suspension on it, you're putting timing chains on it and stuff like that, and there'll probably be other bits along the way as well and prep we're going to do. But yeah, great. That one's sold as well. That's going to go next week outdoor. The Skoda Fabia, the red Skoda Fabia. Not sure we've covered this on the channel before. This is now sold. It's definitely been on the Facebook page. 44,000 miles. Bought this at the gate actually. So this was a walk-on. So a guy came in and sold it to me. He'd had it off an old lady, so it's had two owners from new. The old lady had it serviced literally sort of every 10 yards. Honest to God, I have never seen so much service history on a car. It came a big folder bounded with string. It had loads of service history from Skoda and all sorts of other garages. I mean, it was just overkill on the service history. But what a nice thing. Very bright car. Like I said, 44,000. It's immaculate inside. Got it at right money, and obviously we've put it out for sale, £1,995. I probably could have asked for a bit more, maybe could have got 22, 23 for it. There is a few little marks on the bumper, which are just but we're talking really minor. But I decided rather than paint the bumper and get it split mint, I'll just price it accordingly. We've got a good margin in it anyway, so I didn't see the point in sending it away for paint for weeks, bringing it back, and then to put it up for more money. It's a very presentable, very good condition, clean car, so just price it accordingly. Like I said, it was on sale for a few days. We had a mountain of people asking about it. I'm going to come down on Saturday, I'm going to come down it. We just literally had one guy. He turned up really late. I was just closing up. So my colleague, myself, sort of dealt with him. But in between both of us, we sort of dealt with him as I had to get off. Anyway, car sold, 1,995. The guy came down as a subscriber as well. He was a really nice, pleasant lad. We bought it with his daughter. So yeah, great car, and I'm really pleased that's gone out the door as well. But again, that's a car, I mean, it's an old car, 54 plate, but when he's done 44,000 miles, you know you can buy that car in confidence that you're going to get good look of miles out of that. I've seen these with 150,000 miles up. You know, if you service them, they do go on and on and on. So that has got years and years and years of life left in it, and it's immaculate underneath as well. White Corsas sold, guys. They were 11 plate Corsa. That's gone now. That's going out this morning, so that's good news. That's one of the few cars that's had loads of doors open on it. So we've had loads of people in on it. Had a couple of test drives, but no one ever seems to sort of do the final deed and put the deposit down on it. Whatever reason, some people go away, have a think about it, or a few other people who test drove it or looked at it ended up buying something else off the pitch. So it was a bit of a weird one, really, but it was always a car that some people sort of went towards and drove towards. They did have a look at it, but now it's finally gone. Like I said, it's all done, dusted now, MOT'd and ready to roll. It's a nice bright thing in the white, to be fair. It's only a little Bobby Basic one, little EcoFlex, £35 road tax, all that, but you know, a nice thing nonetheless. It's done about 100,000 miles, but it's priced sensibly. It's $23.95, and it's a proper nice car, and I'm glad that's going out. Lady's bought that. She just wants it basically just to shove some bits in the boot. She does like cleaning runs, mobile and stuff, and it's just ideal for her, very practical. So she's coming for that today. What else we got that's sold? Well, we got the old Igo as well. That's sold. The 2009 plate Igo. Another subscriber's bought that. He'd come down from Wales and put a deposit down on that one. Nice old thing, this. This is the one that's come back from paint. Had a ding in the opposite side, but it had a ding on, sorry, this side it was, not the opposite side, this side here. So you have been painted, absolutely immaculate, brilliant job as always from the paint man. Yeah, so it's that's gone out. That's going out next week. What have we got to do to that one? I think it wants a set of gear cables. It's these do stuff with sort of notchy gears, these Igos, so we need to sort that out, but it's pretty straightforward enough. Just ordered a brand new set of gear cables, we'll put them on, and that will sort of rectify the problem. It's probably had a clutch recently by the looks of it, and then what usually, when you take the cables off and stuff, they usually sort of the bushes on the end, they usually take them on and off all the time, they usually start to sort of fall apart and get a bit wobbly, so it is ideal just to change the cables most of the time when you do these clutches on them. It's probably what's happened, I'd guess, but the clutch is good in it, because I suspect that's what I suspect what's happened. But like I said, we'll sort it, put some new cables on it, and then it's ready to go for MOT. It doesn't really need much else doing to it, I think. We've got to put, I think, a couple of drop links on it. The anti-roll bar bushes look a bit haggard, but they're cheap to buy, and that's pretty much it, really. It's be ready to roll. We've had a few other cars go out this week as well. Kia Ceed Estate, I think I'll find a picture of that for you. That was on the front there. That was one of the previous landlord's cars. That sold. I had a lot of interest in that car. I had a lot of people looking at it, but it was one of those cars that had the interest, but no one really quite sort of committed. But anyway, we managed to get that away this week as well, so that's also good news. And I've also sold a few other bits as well, which probably haven't featured on the channel, but they have gone out the door. We are selling cars, that's the main thing. What have we had come in? That's the next thing. What have we had come in to replace it? Because it's all well and good selling stuff, but you need stock to replace it, otherwise you ain't got a business. Well, in the workshop at the moment, we've got this, the Toyota Igo Platinum, just arrived. This has just gone straight in, arrived yesterday. Trader friend of mine, I bought 3 cars off him, dropped them off, and this is one of them, the old Toyota. It's a Platinum model Igo, which is always in silver, obviously, or Platinum you would call it, as opposed to replicate. 998cc, as obviously all are, bulletproof car, but being the Platinum model, it's high spec. Look at this, guys. We've got a bit of half leather in there. We've got a leather steering wheel, leather gear knob. Got the glove box for on this one. You don't always get on some of the models. Yeah, nice thing. And he said it's a proper car. This again, low miles. I can't show you the mileage because the battery's disconnected. But if I remember rightly, I think this one's done 50,000 miles. I'm pretty sure it's 50 or 51,000, somewhere around there. I will update it when it comes through the workshop. But it's on the ramp anyway because it needs a clutch. Igos do stuff with clutches that do wear out very quickly. Most of them sort of last 30, 40,000 miles. They do quite a lot of work, really, heavy revving and stuff, so they are a bit of a weak point on them. But they're not terribly expensive to do. I mean, for us, obviously, it's only costing us, you know, the cost of the clutch plate, which is about 60, 70 quid for a clutch for these. But, yeah, they are common. But even if you had to get that done sort of outsourced third party, if you shop about a bit, round here in the northwest I'm talking about, these prices will be different down south because obviously you've got different costs and stuff. But most garages around here will put you a clutch in for one of those for about 250 quid. They really are a doddle to do. They're probably one of the few easy clutches left to do these days. But that's going to make a proper nice thing. Get some number plates on it because they're a bit faded and on the front. Can send it to the valet, come back, it'll look gleaming, new clutch in it. With low mileage like that, it's looking like a £2,500 car all day long. We'll lose some pricing on it when we get it back. It may even be a touch more. We'll see. I can't remember what I paid for that. It was around £950. Obviously, I was aware it needed a clutch. That was obviously told. So we've got that, take that into account, the prep we've got to do. And there'll be other things as well, usually bushes and stuff on them, like this, usually on these, and need doing. Obviously, probably maybe tyres. We haven't got that far of it. It just literally turned up yesterday, thought, right, it needs a clutch, let's not mess about, just get it straight in there and get a clutch in. Because once we've got the clutch in and got it valeted, at least then, stick some number plates on it, at least then it can go on the pitch, a waiting prep, if you like, you can get a price board in it, and at least people can test drive it, they can get a feel for it, they can understand it. It's not too difficult then to realise what you sort of buy in, and we can then finish off the last bits later on when the car's sort of committed and sold. We've just got to get them sort of semi-right, if you like, so people can obviously see what they're buying, and we can see what the picture is. We've also had the Polo turn up, the 114 Polo. This one, 05 plate, but it is a facelift model. I'll show you the difference between the facelift and the non-facelift. I'll put a picture up. So this is a non-facelift, and that is a facelift, so very slightly different. A lot more modern a car. They ran this shape up to about 09 template, I think it was, maybe late, I think it's 59 actually. So this is basically the same front end model as the 09 one at the back there we just saw before. Obviously wants a bit of paint, so it's got a bit of a chip there on the plastic. That wants repairing. We'll do that, that's no problem. But why have I bought an old 05 Polo? Well, you actually look at it for more detail, it's actually very, very clean. And it's clean because it's only done 50,000 miles again. 50,000 miles, and it gets better than that. Not only has it done 50,000 miles, it's automatic. Yes, another auto. Actually, it's done 53,000 miles. I'm telling lies here, guys. Ignore me. 53,000 miles it's done. So we've had so many low mileage cars in the last few days, I'm losing track of them all. But this has done 53,000. Let's get that straight. Got service history, and it, like I said, it's an auto. It's an auto. That's what we want at the moment. We want a nice auto. All them seats, always like golf seats and polo seats, especially when they like tartan ones you get in the GTIs and stuff. They always make a nice interior in a Volkswagen. But they're a nice old thing, owned by a doctor, and that's not some tale I'm telling either. It genuinely on the logbook says it's a doctor. Now, what doctor of what I don't know, but it's a doctor nonetheless. But it's a proper nice thing, and it will make a good car, that, for someone. I'm gonna get that paint done first. I've been up the road in it. It does drive really well. I think it might be due a cam belt and water pump. It's a 1.4 petrol, this one. So most Polos are sort of 1.2s, the 3 cylinders, a bit like that one over there. But these are the 1.4s. Don't think they made a 1.2 auto. Certainly not in the early years. I'm not sure later on if they did, but I know the early ones are all 1.4s. So this is the same engine you'd get in a 1.4, like a Golf Match, stuff like that. You'd get all the 1.4 Golfs of this era. But they've always got history of it. I can't see anything in there that says it had a cam belt and water pump. So obviously we'll check it first because they're very easy to check. If the belt looks relatively new, then obviously we'll make a different decision. But there is a little bit of a sort of a noise, like a ticking noise maybe. It sounds a bit like almost like a water pump sort of bearing, pulling noise. So I suspect it probably wants a belt and a pump. It's probably never been done. 50,000 or 53,000 miles. There's nothing in the book saying otherwise. It has been serviced properly, but it's probably never been due on the mileage front. I mean, from an age perspective, it wanted doing probably years ago, but it hasn't been done. So we need to get that rectified. I mean, like I said, it might not need doing. It might have already been done, just no invoice for it. But I suspect it probably won't do it. And we will make a car. We've give strong money for that. For an old car like that, I think I've given nearly over £900 for it. Off a friend of mine, but with that mileage on, it's a bit of a no-brainer to me. I know it drove right. He did test drive it beforehand. I've driven it. I know it drives spot on. Quite a lot of prep to do on that. Probably going to spend at least 500 or 600 quid probably prepping that up. Time you're talking to paint, to account cam belts, water pumps, etc. Probably farm out the cam belt and water pump if it needs doing. So it was a fair old chunk of money going to be to throw into that. Going to service the auto box as well. Obviously, there's a lot to do on it. So it's going to stand you probably 1,500 quidish mark, maybe slightly under if you're lucky. If you have to do all the cam belt and the paint, etc. Well, obviously we've got to do the paint. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But what's it worth? I suspect that's probably, looking at Auto Trader, I think it's definitely a £2,500 car. Does seem rather odd for an 05 plate, but you've got to remember, guys, it's auto. Where are you going to find one? Most autos these days are around £2,000 anyway, just for something average, an old. So a one that's got low mileage like that, and a Volkswagen Polo, which is, let's face it, is a good build car, it's going to be at least £2,500, maybe even slightly more. I do try and price stuff quite sensibly. I'm not a sort of person who tries and sort of gets every penny out of a car. That's not how I work. I just sort of make sure mine's competitive. Always like to be on the competitive side. I'd rather sort of get stuff sold and get them out the door, you know, get my margin that I want, move on to the next thing, rather than have stuff stuck in stock for days and days or weeks or months or end. I don't want that. I just want stuff to move quickly, get the money back in and reinvest it into something else. And just to round it off, I'll just show you the third car we bought off me mate. So this was the other one he dropped off, a little i10. So this is a 2010 plate i10, MOT failure. Done 70, I think it's about 76,000 miles, somewhere around there. Nice colour, 9 in the blue. Is it a 1.1 or a 1.2? They did 2 engines. I don't know which one it is, I've not checked, but it's going to be the 1.1 or the 1.2 petrol. There's hardly a difference between the 2 engines, to be honest with you. Drives well, I've been up the road in it. It does drive exceptionally well, but it is an MOT failure. I think it failed on handbrake cable and it failed on a subframe. Now I have checked the subframe to see what it's failed on. It's got a little hole in it where the sort of the arm, near where the arm mounting point is on the subframe. So it wants a subframe on it. But to be honest with you guys, for this, we'll just buy a new subframe. Subframe is a bit of a tricky one. When it's got holes in them from an MOT perspective, and I qualify this as someone who is an MOT tester and has been, you know, run a gauge station for many years, been an authorised examiner, so I do know what I'm talking about. You can repair subframes, but you have to be very careful when doing it. It's not something that I would suggest is the right thing to do in all cases. You know, if you've got a flat piece of a subframe, you know, big old bulky thing, and it's got a hole in it, and you're going to patch it, that's probably acceptable. But if you're doing it where mounting points are, you've got to be very careful, because you basically the integral structure of it can be seriously reduced, and you've got to take that into account. I mean, we're not going to repair something like that. It's ridiculous to repair a subframe when they're only £180 brand new. So just buy a new one. So that's what we'll do. And obviously, I think the customer would appreciate the fact that we've actually put a new subframe on it rather than, you know, patch it up and send it out. So that's what we're going to do with it. We'll do the job properly, put a new subframe on it. Because obviously people are going to mention, oh, it's failed on a subframe. If they did, you know, some people check history, etc. It's failed on the subframe, blah blah blah. Is it been done? Just go, look, it's had a brand new one on it. It'll outlive the car. It's done. It's right. Unfortunately, it's very common you see subframes rotten these days, particularly on smaller cars. Obviously, they're built to a price. You know, courses are the same. You get a lot of courses. I've failed 11 plate, 12 plate courses with rotten subframes. It does happen. It will vary from, you know, the condition of the car. It's been near salt and stuff, weather, different parts of the country. You'll just get more corrosion in different places. So it's not uncommon to see i10s with a rotten subframe, but it's an easy fix. It sounds worse than it actually is. I mean, in reality, it's probably like a 2 or 3 hour job. Get the subframe, bolt it on, and then it should be right then. It'd be 100%. The rest of the car is actually split mint. It's a really clean thing, and these are really popular sellers. So we'll say we'll do that. We'll get it right. I've checked the rest of the car underneath. It's actually really clean. It's just a subframe, which is just poor quality subframes they've used. Yeah, so that's really sort of it. But we'll do it right, and then also as well, just for good measure, we'll schultz it underneath, make sure it's all nice and clean, and get a bit of rust protection on there just for peace of mind. But other than that, it's a very solid car underneath. Just wants that subframe doing. So we'll get that sorted as well. It'll make a car. Is it open? I can show you in it. Oh yeah, look at that. Wants a valet, obviously. We've got 2p on the floor there, so we're already up. But yeah, these are nice things. They are bought by older people, I'll be honest with you, and women. They do get some middle-aged women who buy stuff by them. It's not really a young man's car, let's be realistic, but they are popular sellers, and it's a nice colour. The colour alone should help sell that car. And I do like an i10, and in fairness, when you send them out, it's a car really you can send out like an iGo really. You send it out in good faith, knowing that you're probably not going to get any issues with the customer going forward on the warranty side, because they are quite reliable. The low mileage Corsa's back, guys. 39,000 miler. That's it. I had a timing chain done. It's now back, which is good news. We were going to get that sort of turned around today. We need to do something on that. What have we got to do on that? Oh, gear linkages. The gear linkage is a little bit sloppy, so I've ordered a new, basically it's a new gear linkage set. I'm going to put that on today, so then we can get that ready to roll. I've got a bit of interest on that. Irons in the fire. I've got to bring a guy back on that, to be fair, who's seen it on the channel, who wants to buy that. But I'm glad that's got the chain done, because it was in a terrible state. It was rattling its brains off. Obviously original. I think it's in the boot still. Yeah, there we go. So there's your chain kit. Those of you who've never seen one before, So basically what's happened is the change is actually just stretched. It's always good practice changing sprockets as well. This is like the gears that run the chain round, only because they just sort of wear the teeth down. And these side gaskets as well are prolific for going wrong. These usually leak on the side here and you get water in the oil and stuff. Looks a bit like an head gasket failure, but it's not. It's just usually the side gasket. Also, these plastic guides, these can pack up. Tensioners can also pack up as well. They're just terrible design, to be honest with you. There's the old gear repair linkage we've got to do to it. We've got to stick that on. We'll get that done, and we can obviously get some nice gears. At the moment, it's like a spoon in a pudding bowl. I'm sorry about the noise, guys. It's a very busy morning. But anyway, let me go inside a bit quiet and have a quick chat about what the problems I'm facing with all these sales. So like I said, we've got rid of about, I think we've got rid of about 7 so far since Monday. And we already had a couple of bits going out for sort of the Thursday, Friday previous week. Now we got ahead of it with some of those, but when you get 7 that go out in the, like 3 or 4 days, which is what's happened this week, it does put a bit of a stop to us. Because bear in mind, there's only really 3 of us here. We've only got one guy in the workshop doing the work. I'm helping, assisting where I can, doing bits and bobs, and so is my other guy as well, my other man who works for me. But obviously we're doing our jobs as well. So it's a very, we are trying to work as a team, but we are having to go here and there, fetch and carry. I've got to go to valeters, go to the paint place, you've got to pick stuff up, go for MOTs. You don't get to spend as much time as you like in the workshop as you want to. So really, we're only relying on one man who's there full time doing it. And only one person can only do so much, even with 2 ramps, we can only do so much work. So what you have to do is when we've sold all these cars, effectively everything that's in prep, everything that's sort of been brought in to be sold has to stop. It can't continue. So, I can still take stuff to places, but if it's internally we need to work on them, whether it's, we're doing work on them in job cars and stuff we do, we can't get it done. Because as soon as you sell a car, that comes priority. Those cars need to get out. So they then jump the queue, if you like, and then you have to focus on them. And when you've got 7 in the short space of time, we're going to spend today and all of next week getting these cars out. And most of them now, of these 7 that have gone out, most of these of the 7 that are sold, are all going out this week or till sort of next Saturday. And you're bound to sell probably a couple of more in the week next week as well. So it becomes a bit of an issue, because what's going to happen is we're going to get to the end of this month and we're going to have like hardly anything on sale. We're going to have a situation where we're going to have probably a dozen cars on sale and maybe twice as that in prep waiting to come in, because we've got stuff at other places as well that's coming here. And those cars won't be able to get through the workshop because we're just not able to. We're just not able to get them in and get them into a nice condition. Because if they come in and they drive all right and they just want valets and stuff, that's great. You can just put a sticker on them, a waiting prep. You can make them look the best, they're test drivable. You can put them up for sale. And, you can say to people, look, they're coming through the workshop, it's being done, it's test drivable, it's nice and clean, you can see what we're going to do to it, here's what we're going to do to it, blah, blah, blah. You can still sell that car on. And we've done that already with a few cars here. But if they need major stuff doing to them, it's a bit difficult. It's very, very difficult. It's like the iGo came in yesterday. We just decided straight away, look, let's just get that clutch done. We've got sold cars going out, but let's just get it done now, because at least we've got something next week to put on the pitch new, so we can update the Facebook page with some bits that have come in, and at least have some more new stuff coming in. We can maybe be able to sell that on and get that gone the following week, because they don't take that long. The clutching them are quite easy to do. So we'll get that fixed by probably midday today. That'll be done, and we can then carry on with the other bits. So it takes up a lot of time doing these preps, and we're just going to have a massive void now at the end of the month where we're going to have nothing to really sort of sell, sort of new stock, which is a bit of disappointing really, but that's what you have to do. You can outsource a few bits as well. We do that, particularly sort of cam belts and chains and stuff, because we haven't really got any of the tools, locking tools anymore, and there's that many different sets you have to buy. It's just easier to send it out to someone else. Just takes, these jobs can take a few hours to do, and sometimes can take half a day. So just sending them out to other people and paying them is just far easier, and let us focus on doing the more sort of boring stuff, if you like, your servicing, your brakes, your shockers and stuff like that, because we can get more of that done than we can do spending half a day with a chain kit and having to find out we've not got the right kit, or the timing chain locking kit's the wrong one, or we have to buy another one. Just let another garage sort that problem out. Also as well, I've had to turn off the bookings online. So we do a bit of servicing work for sort of outside customers for a website we use. To be honest with you, we did it originally when we came here, because obviously I was a bit concerned that the mechanic might not have a lot to do. So we did a bit of servicing work. The beauty of it, we can turn it on and off. So we have now turned it off this morning because we're getting bookings coming in off that. And we're not getting loads, don't get me wrong, we're not like every day, but we're getting a few a week. And I know next week we're going to be so busy, it's just not practical to be getting servicing in. So I had to turn that off because we've had a few bookings already in the last 48 hours. And to be honest with you, I'm not going to ring those customers up and say, no, we're not doing it, you know, because I don't want to do that to people. They've made a booking, you know, when they made the booking, it was on, we were open. So we should honour them bookings, and we will honour them. But we've had to turn it off now because it's just going to get in the way going forward. If we've got to come in the morning, you've got to get these cars out the door, and you've got a customer there who wants us to service the cash guy, you know, it's just like, it's frustrating, but we will do it. Get it out of the way, turn it off for now, and then if we ever come quiet again, we can obviously turn that back on and make a bit of income from that. So that's what we've got to contend with this week. I've also got a lot of new cars that I bought from the auction. If you've not already seen my auction video, guys, you can check that out. That's coming out. If it hasn't come out already, it's coming out very soon. We did win a couple of bits as well, so it's good news. It was actually an interesting day. So if you haven't seen that video, please do check that out when it comes out, or if it already is out, in the link description. Like I said, we'll do some videos on those cars we purchased from there this week, hopefully. And I've also got some more content coming at the end of the week, so make sure you check that out as well. So thank you for watching this update, guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you all in the next video.